Good morning, NFL fans, Falcons fans. Welcome to another episode of Jackson Pigskins. This is Tom Powlin. Dave Holcomb is taking today off. I think he's traveling today. So you're going to have me today. And got a lot to talk about as far as Desmond Ridder and whether his time is running out on the field in Atlanta. And I'm beginning to think that, and I've defended him for quite a bit this year because he's a young quarterback and needs some time you need a time to get a feel for what a young quarterback can do. But I'm starting to think that maybe what we're getting out of Desmond Ridder might be all we're going to see. And it's not enough. So I want to talk about that with all of you. Please leave your comments. You're all great. Chris, did we just restart the show?
No. It says the stream's still live and it says we're good. Is everything okay?
Yeah, okay. That sounds good.
All right.
But sorry about that. Also want to apologize a little bit. I've been dealing with a bout of hay fever the last couple of days. So if I do have to pause every now and then, just excuse me for that. It's been rough. We had a lot of rain here in Chicago. I think it's kicked up a lot of allergens and messed up the air quality. And I'm just not doing too well. So, and here's Zozo. Zozo's going to help us co-host the show. As always, sorry, I'm not, Dave's not here and he doesn't have Thomas here to help co-host the show like we did last week. His new son, Thomas, turned 4 months old and Dave showed him off on the channel last week. But here's Zozo. She's here and she's going to be around for us. So again, looking at Desmond Ridder, and I want to talk a little bit about him and what we've seen from him so far and what can we expect to see from him in the future as we keep going. Is it possible he could be benched? I'm beginning to think so. And up until last week, everybody who watches this show, sees this regularly, knows that I've been kind of behind Ridder and saying that he has to play. You have to find out what you have in him. But have we found out what we have in him? And that's kind of what I want to go into. Dave had a good article about Desmond Ridder on allfalcons.com this week. Yesterday, actually. So if you want to catch Dave's writing, go to allfalcons.com. Dave does a lot of great work, a lot of great writing. I know I used to write with Dave quite a while ago. We got our start on Football Nation. Unfortunately, that site is not there anymore. But, go to allfalcons.com and you'll see a lot of the things Dave has to say. And he had a very good article about Desmond Ridder this last week. Before we move on, I want to mention Prize Picks, the show's sponsor. Deposit for your first $100 deposit. They will match. Well, they will match up to $100 of your first deposit. And I always get this better at the end of the show than I do at the beginning of the show. Use the promo code ASU for Atlanta Sports Unlimited. And again, get that extra $100, make your first deposit of $100. I do have player props for you later that you can use on Prize Picks. And later on when we do the Nostradamus Predicts, I will give you, I got three good spots for you to go after this week. So again, ASU, use the promo code, support the show, support the channel. And again, like Atlanta Sports Unlimited on YouTube, because that's always big. We're always growing. We're always growing subscribers, and we're always looking to fill fill all your needs for Atlanta sports discussion. First thing I want to get to before we get to Desmond Ridder, though, and really, I don't know, hit me harder than I actually thought it would. But I do want to mention before we get into the discussion about Desmond Ridder, Dick Butkus died Thursday during the day, Thursday morning, passed away in his sleep, which shocked me because he's been very active with the Bears this year so far and in public, and no indication that he was sick or that anything was wrong with him. Apparently, it just happened, which, he was 80 years old. But I do want to say I've seen some tributes to him this week, and I am going to say right now with no equivocation that the best linebacker ever, legend. I don't care what name you want to throw at me. You could throw any Hall of Famer. You could throw any name at me you want. Dick Butkus is the best to ever play linebacker in the NFL. I'm going to put a couple of links in the YouTube comments at the end of the show. I know I can't add any links right now, but I do want to put a couple links in there for everybody to see. He was fierce. He was just a monster. He held nothing back on the field. And you get a chance to get a feel for what this man really was when he was playing football. And unfortunately, bad knees cut his career short. He could, these days with today's medicine, he could have gone and had his knees worked on and 6 months of rehab, and he would have been right back out on the field. So, it was, rough to see that he didn't have that long career, just 9 years, and never got to play in a postseason game, which is another disappointment. But the surprise is, amazingly enough, when the Bears drafted Butkus in the 65 NFL draft, they got Butkus in the first round. He was 3rd overall. 4th overall, the Bears also had the 4th overall pick, and they got Gale Sayers. And amazingly enough, with Gale Sayers and Dick Butkus on the offense and defense, that team never played in a playoff game. But as I said, great. 5 All-Pro nominations. Went into the Hall of Fame his first year of eligibility. Could play sideline to sideline. Wasn't just someone who could rush the passer. A guy who can run any ball carrier down sideline to sideline. Punished people. Took pride in hitting people. Was able to drop back into coverage and had 22 interceptions in his career. And you watch him run back an interception. Nobody wanted to try and tackle him when he was running back an interception. Dick Butkus, incredible player. As I said, legend. Nobody, you're not going to get me to admit to anybody being better than him on a football field as a linebacker. The only name I will accept that you want to make an argument with is Ray Lewis. If you want to say, okay, Tom, I'll throw Ray Lewis at you. All right, I will let you make that argument. I will still say no, but you can make that argument. I know a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of you fans are probably thinking, I'm going to throw Lawrence Taylor at him. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't throw Lawrence Taylor at me. Nowhere near what Dick Butkus did on the football field. And as a lifetime Bears fan, as you all know, that it was a rough loss. It was tough to see because, as I say, he's been active. I think he was on the sidelines a couple of weeks ago. And he's been doing tailgates out in Soldier Field parking lot and doing tailgates with fans. And he's gone. So Dick Butkus, 80 years old. I'll put a couple of links so you can actually see how devastating he was on a football field. So I wanted to get that out of the way before we started our Falcons conversation. So Desmond Ridder, as I say, Christopher Godby, who I don't think I've seen, is a first-time commenter, says, it's been time. Desmond Ridder is holding this team back, and Arthur Smith ain't off the hook. I hate to say it, but respectfully, he's hot garbage. Oh, thank you, Christopher. I appreciate the comment. We appreciate all comments. And I want a lot of comments about Desmond Ridder today. And we've been getting them, so don't hold back. And I know our fans don't hold back, so that's a lot of fun doing this show. But Ridder, as I say, I've been wanting to see what he could do over the course of the year. And I think that's kind of what Arthur Smith still wants to do. But I agree with you, Christopher, because if Arthur Smith does that, I think he's going to be on the hot seat too. And he might have some difficulties, once the season is over, if he decides he needs to see Ridder. Terry Fontenot might also be behind, wanting to see Ridder. Arthur Blank called Ridder the future of the franchise. So it's tough on Arthur Smith because he's got two people above him saying that Desmond Ridder's the man. We got to move forward with Desmond Ridder, but he is just not showing it on the field. And as I said, I've been wanting to see Ridder the entire year. I want to see if he can develop, if he can move forward, develop skills that he's not showing yet. I don't know if he can do that now. I'm not seeing that possibility because he hasn't shown any kind of improvement over the first 4 weeks of the season. He's got a couple of rookies in the National Football League in Anthony Richardson and C.J. Stroud, who are playing much better than he is right now. And they just started. They're in their rookie seasons. So I know he's only in his second year, but he does not look anywhere near as finished or as capable of learning and developing as Richardson and Stroud. So, and that's kind of changed my mind. That's kind of adjusted my thought process about Desmond Ridder as far as what he's able to do. Because I see some of these other quarterbacks developing so quickly, and I'm like, where's Ridder been? He's got a rifle. That's one thing you could see. He's got a rifle. He gets the ball out quick, and he gets the ball out fast. He gets, intermediate, short and intermediate routes. He gets it to the receiver quick. And that is a positive. However, he checks down too much. He's been checking down. Bijan Robinson has the most targets out of any Falcons receiver this season. He is the running back. He is not supposed to have that many targets. He has 22 targets, 19 catches. So he's getting the ball. He's getting the ball in positions where he can catch it and do something with it. However, that's only going to make that's going to limit your offense if that's your main receiver is Bijan Robinson. Drake London has 22 targets, but only 11 receptions. He's not getting the ball, and I don't think that's on Drake London because he's made some difficult catches this year. That touchdown last week against Jacksonville was outstanding, where he reached up, went up, and got that throw from Ridder just inside the goal line and keeping his feet in bounds and keep control of the ball. That was incredible. That was a great catch. So I don't think it's Drake London's fault that he's only gotten 11 receptions out of 22 targets. I think it's Ridder who is not getting him the ball in a position where he can catch it. Same thing with Kyle Pitts, 21 targets, 11 receptions. Kyle Pitts is supposed to be the guy who, the tight end who gets downfield, who can run the seam, run the sideline. And again, I don't think it's his fault that he only has 11 catches in 21 targets. I think that's on Ridder. From what I have been watching all season, Ridder is not throwing the ball where Pitts can get it. And he's throwing the ball late to Pitts. I don't know why he can't get timing with Kyle Pitts as straight as he should, considering, how important Pitts is to this offense. Jonnu Smith has 20 targets, 15 catches. Jonnu Smith is a good receiver, but as I said, coming into the season, Jonnu Smith is more of a red zone target, more of a end zone target, because that's how he was used by Arthur Smith in Tennessee. But Ridder seems to have very good rapport with Jonnu Smith. And again, that's not the guy who's going to be doing the damage in this offense. London and Pitts have got to be getting the ball, and they've got to be getting the ball in places where they can win contested catches, where they're up against a defensive back and use those big bodies to put themselves between the defensive back and the ball and reach up and outreach defensive backs for the ball. And they're not getting that opportunity. So it's starting to make me adjust my thinking on Desmond Ridder a bit. False start, Falcon. Afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Great to see you, Jamal. Morning to you. And, well, afternoon in Atlanta. Still morning here in Chicago. But great to see you. Great to see everybody on the show. So another thing with Ridder is he can't hit anything long. Missed Mac Hollins last week. He had Mac Hollins wide open. Underthrew the ball. Didn't give Mac Hollins a chance to get to it. And Hollins was pretty upset about that on the sidelines. Ridder tried to talk to Hollins on the sidelines and got a bit of a mouthful from Mac Hollins about missing him on that post that he was running. And it's tough to see those kind of opportunities. I mean, that changes the game. That puts Falcons back in the game if he hits Hollins. Because Hollins takes that all the way. He had good separation between him and the defensive back. So I'm a little surprised that Ridder can't hit that long ball. He hasn't been able to. He didn't last year. And I was hoping that over the course of the summer, that would improve, that he would be able to gain some more accuracy on that long ball, but he's not. Jamal D, we're tired of it too. Hey, I hear you, Jamal. It is getting tiring to watch. So, and the surprise thing, see, in Tennessee, and Mad Mike made a comment on this last week on his show on Twitter to me. Well, not to me, he put it out there on Twitter in general. And I replied to him because Mad Mike made notice of the fact that Arthur Smith really is not using Desmond Ridder in any kind of movement. No design runs, no rollouts, and Ridder does have mobility. And essentially staying in the pocket and being a pocket passer. And that's a big problem. So he can't be sitting in the pocket. And I kind of agreed with Mad Mike, and we both agreed together that, surprisingly, he has not moved out. Desmond Ridder tried to get him on the move. And yes, protection has been rough. He has been facing some pass rushes. That can affect how a young quarterback plays his game. But still, he's had enough chances to actually unleash a few passes that just should have been better, should have been more on target. Passes that are NFL throws that NFL quarterbacks should hit. You've got to be able to start making those NFL throws at some point. In Tennessee, Arthur Smith would actually move Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill would get design runs. Ryan Tannehill scrambled occasionally, would roll out occasionally. Tannehill was good at it. Tannehill had mobility. And he also had A.J. Brown as his wide receiver. But that's the thing. Arthur Smith would move Tannehill, and then he would hit A.J. Brown deep. He'd draw the defense in and hit A.J. Brown deep. Not doing that with Ridder. So my wondering is, deep down, does Arthur Smith have that confidence in Ridder to where he can start drawing defenses in with designed runs and then go deep? Because you can go deep with Hollins. Hollins has shown he can get separation. He can also go deep with London if he throws the right kind of ball. He can go deep with Pitts. Again, give Pitts a chance to catch the ball. Hollins, London, and Pitts don't get a lot of separation, not a lot of speed. That doesn't mean they can't be effective receivers if you give them the ball in the right spot. Again, where they can use those big bodies and get in between the defensive back and the ball. So you're either going to end up with a catch or defensive pass interference. I'll take either one. So, and that's the problem. And Christopher says, again, the man looks lost out there every week. Don't think he has a blues clue about what he's doing. I love that, Christopher. Keep commenting. I love those comments. But that's the thing. And last week, those interceptions, he was staring down those. He didn't look off the safety either time. Didn't look off the defensive back. Was zeroed in on the receiver on those two interceptions. And you can't have that. Again, you're an NFL quarterback, and you can't look off a receiver. You can't look off that safety. They were breaking right on the throw. All right. They knew it was kind of like Jesse Bates in the first week against Bryce Young. Bates knew where Bryce Young was going with the ball because Bryce Young is a rookie. It was his first professional game. Did not know how to look off the safety. Well, he was made to pay for it with Jesse Bates. And that's the same thing, but this is a second-year quarterback, and he's doing the same thing that Bryce Young did in his first game. Not looking off that safety. Not making that safety hesitate before he breaks on the ball. Because as I said, in the NFL, it's a matter of fractions of seconds, quarter seconds, thirds of seconds. In college, you can get away with 1 second delay in delivering a ball and still make that catch. You don't have that kind of time. You have to look off the safety, then get right back on your receiver and get the throw. And he's been late with the throws. And that's a problem. So you're right, Christopher. He's looking lost. And again, another Christopher comment, as I say, keep commenting. With all this talent on this offensive, you should be scoring. The defense only giving up 13 to 20 points a game. You can't score 21 a game. Exactly. That is it. Exactly, Christopher. Your defense is playing lights out this year. Your defense is really playing hard. They got a pass rush. Falcons have a pass rush. They haven't had a pass rush for the last couple of years. All right. They have a great secondary. Their secondary is playing well. Their secondary anticipates well. Jesse Bates has been a great quarterback out there in the secondary. Their linebackers anticipate. This has been a defense that I think Falcons fans has been looking for the last 2 or 3 years. So that's a frustrating thing because you went out, you made the signings on defense and did very well with them. I give Terry Fontenot a lot of credit for the people he bring in on defense because it has helped. Onyemata on the defensive line, working with Grady Jarrett. Calais Campbell, I'm surprised he's getting as many snaps as he is. I still think Calais Campbell is a long yardage defensive end. But, the whole thing is working. Ryan Nielsen's defense is working. And it's tough. And that's why it's very disappointing to see an offense where the Falcons have made first-round draft picks on specialist players instead of linemen, or, where I would have liked offensive line or defensive line, taking specialists, talented specialists in Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, but still specialists. But you have them, and you're not using them. You're not using them to their best ability. And Bijan Robinson's been running great. You got to love how he's developing as a runner. Almost is never brought down by the first man. Always makes the first man miss. Amazing the moves he has to get free when he's one-on-one with a defender. And just, he's amazed me, and I've seen some good running backs in my time. So I like what I see out of this kid. And you got to make more use out of him than he's not your dump off. He's not your dump off passer. You don't see anybody deep. You get it to Bijan Robinson. He gets you what yards he can. That's why I say Bijan Robinson should not be leading this team in targets. And because he's leading this team in targets, that tells me something about Desmond Ridder. It tells me too much about Ridder. Pantera says Ridder is struggling, no doubt. Watch the Pitts isolation route film. He's not getting open. His cuts are slow, and he stumbles probably on 20% of routes. I agree with you, Pantera. Pitts is running slow. Pitts doesn't seem to have the speed he had his rookie season. Maybe that knee is still bothering him. I don't know. I don't think Pitts is dogging it. I would never say Pitts is dogging it. But I do agree. I don't think he has the speed. But again, I think you can get the ball to Pitts in places that you could throw him open. You could throw something lower that the defensive back isn't going to get to. You could throw back shoulder. There are ways to get a receiver the ball, to get one of your top receivers the ball without even if he doesn't have great separation. London doesn't get a lot of separation. All right. You look at that, as I watch all 22, I didn't watch all 22 of last week's game. I didn't have time this week. Work got in the way. I'm sorry, folks. But I usually try to watch all 22 of every Falcons game because I want to see who's open, who is Ridder missing by dumping the ball off to Robinson or getting the ball to Jonnu Smith. As I said, Jonnu Smith is not supposed to have 20 targets when Drake London has 22 and Kyle Pitts has 21. Relying way too much on Jonnu Smith. And I love Jonnu Smith. I think he's an excellent tight end. So now I just lost my Jamal D made a good comment. That's kind of where I lost my train of thought, because I got Jamal D's comment. I think if we would use Patterson for once, it would help. Usually gets us started on offense. I agree, Jamal D. I don't think Patterson is completely healthy yet. I still think he's still dealing with that thigh injury, and he's been limited in practice. He's not doing full participation in practice. I agree with you that if they could get Patterson on the field, it makes a big difference. Because with Patterson on the field, you have to pay attention to him. And we've talked about this with Dave a lot. You have to pay attention to Patterson. You have to mark him. You have to have a defensive guy who is looking for him. Because Patterson can do too many things. If you get him the ball in any kind of space, he's dangerous. So you really have to keep an eye on him. It would loosen things up for the rest of the offense. It would. I agree. But you kind of look at things, and as I say, I've always said that a quarterback can make his receivers. Now, you look at this week's game against C.J. Stroud, and the Falcons are going up against the Houston Texans. Got last week's opponent mixed with this week's opponent. It happens. But C.J. Stroud has had a hell of a start as a quarterback in the NFL. The Falcons are going to have a handful with him tomorrow. Texans are only 2-2, but the first two games, Stroud struggled a bit, but against Jacksonville last week against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh has a hell of a defense. Pittsburgh may struggle on offense, but Pittsburgh will bring it on defense with T.J. Watt. And that did not bother Stroud at all. So he's thrown 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in his first 4 games. His yards per attempt, net yards per attempt, is 8. 8 yards per attempt. He's getting the ball downfield. He's trying to find his receivers. He's got 100.6 passer rating. That's one of the best in the league. That's not just the tops among rookies. That's one of the best in the league right now. And let's look at his receivers. Who's the guy that Stroud is getting the ball to? Nico Collins, 32 targets, 22 catches, 428 yards. So Robert Woods, 18 catches. Tank Dell, 24 targets, 16 catches. This isn't an all-star lineup. These aren't Pro Bowl receivers. All right. He's not getting A.J. Brown or like Justin Fields gets DJ Moore. And boy, did you see a Thursday night game? Again, I'm just going to give you a little aside. Justin Fields. Oh, man, did he tear it up, especially with DJ Moore. Larry Orange makes a great point. And this is what I was eventually getting to. Do we start Heineke, or do we sign Nick Foles, or do we call Matt Ryan? I think Matt Ryan has found out that he likes broadcasting, because I think the Colts called him. And I think somebody else called him too. I don't remember off the top of my head. Matt Ryan, though, he turned it down. I think he's found out that life in the broadcast booth is a lot preferable than life on the football field, getting the snot kicked out of him every week. So I don't think Ryan's coming back anywhere. Nick Foles, no. Nick Foles is past what he can do. Heineke, you would have to start Heineke. I don't want to, because in a way that's admitting that you are done, that you have made your evaluation of Desmond Ridder and that he is found wanting and he is not going to be the man. He's not going to be the man next year. And you have to start again from square one, because Heineke's not your long-term answer. Heineke might get the Falcons to the playoffs this year, because this is an open division as far as, the teams. Baker Mayfield's coming back to the pack a little bit. Derek Carr is not playing well for New Orleans. So, and Bryce Young is looking lost on the field with Carolina. So you can play Tyler Heineke. Yeah, Tavares, leave Matt Ryan where he is. I think Matt Ryan wants to stay exactly where he is at. He doesn't want to be on the football field anymore. Kind of like a lot of players, Matt Ryan has discovered how nice life is in the broadcast booth. So do not expect Matt Ryan back anywhere. But if you put Tyler Heineke in, you're admitting that Ridder is not your guy, that this is a failed experiment, and that you're going to have to do something next year about getting a quarterback in here, especially, and I think it was Christopher who mentioned the fact that all the weapons that the Falcons have on offense, that, you know, a good quarterback, look at what C.J. Stroud is making work on offense. And then you look at what Ridder has on offense and what he has failed to make work yet. Tavares, I've loved your comments so far today. Say Ridder is the guy, be patient. Christopher, I'm not going to read that one. But Ridder is the guy, be patient. As I say, Tavares, I have tried to be patient this year with Ridder. I really have. Played well his first two games. Engineered a 13-point fourth quarter comeback against the Packers in his second game. And I thought that was really impressive. That got me. That got my attention. So, but as I say, you look at what C.J. Stroud has had to work with, and you look at what Ridder has, and the quarterback can make your receivers better. Ridder is making his receivers worse. He's not getting the ball where they can do anything with it, where they can make a play on the ball. Well, I'm not going to talk about Brett Favre, not one of my favorite quarterbacks, especially the way he played against the Bears. But yeah, I know Brett Favre. A lot of guys struggle their first few games. A lot of Hall of Famers have had rough first years. But there are signs you see among them that I'm not seeing with Desmond Ridder. And that's the rough thing. I don't like his choices. I don't like the way his decision making in the pocket. I don't like how he stares down receivers. He hasn't learned how to look off defensive backs yet. They jump his routes too quickly. And if the ball isn't intercepted, the receiver takes a beating. The receiver takes a real shot. And receivers get tired of that. They get tired of getting hung out to dry. And I've said all this year that, to me, I believe the huddle has a lot of confidence in Ridder. But if you keep leaving receivers hung out to dry, keep overthrowing receivers, underthrowing receivers, you're going to lose that confidence in the huddle. So, and it's little things, and it doesn't take long. As we see, Matt Collins was not happy last week and displayed that on the sideline with Ridder. Todd says, Tom, it's time to move on from Ridder. He's a third-round pick. Well, third-round picks have come through. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, and look at what he's done out of last year's draft. Russell Wilson's a third-round pick. I don't care where you get the quarterback if he has the basic skills, if he has the quick reactions, if he looks like he's reading fast. I'm not as worried about the fact that Desmond Ridder is a third-round pick. I'm worried about the fact that Desmond Ridder has not gone beyond the skills that you would normally see out of a third-round quarterback. He has not learned anything. And this is going to be the problem. This is going to be the problem this week against Houston. Because, and one of the things that you can also Dave, you're also right. I was concerned about his coming into the season, but this offense is morphing into a Bijan-centric offense. And that's the point I was making. Bijan Robinson should not be tied for the lead on this team with targets. And he's leading the team in receptions. And Dave, I will always be honest with you. And, that's the one thing you're always going to get out of me. So, Bijan Robinson should not be leading this team in receptions. Jonnu Smith should not be leading this team in reception yards with 179. That's not what Jonnu Smith is here to be doing. All right, Drake London's only has 126 receptions. Pitt's 121. Not so sure what you're saying there, Chris. But as I said, I do appreciate the comments. But you're not getting the ball to the playmakers that you drafted to get the ball. And that is the big problem. Is Ridder is not getting the ball to these guys. So Ridder may have some of that mental block as far as where he's throwing the ball. But you're facing Houston this week. Houston is showing kind of mid-level. Net passing yards per attempt, Houston is 9th in the NFL, which, as I said before the season, top 10 teams in net passing yards per attempt. Last year, 8 of them made the playoffs. So Houston is on that curve where it's looking like they are developing into a team. I'm not saying Super Bowl team. I'm not saying they're going to make noise in the playoffs, but they're in a division, AFC South, where you can win that thing. They are, again, Ridder has a great passer rating. Defensive passer rating, Houston, is 83.9. Things are not going to get easier for Ridder tomorrow throwing the ball, considering how well Houston is at defending the pass. So it's going to be rough. You can rush the yards. You can rush the ball against Houston. They're 20th in yards per attempt. So they're going to have a chance. If you could shut Dameon Pierce down on the ground, I think Houston will do that. And they should be able to run Bijan Robinson. But I'm tired of seeing Bijan Robinson getting as many receptions as he has. He can't keep doing that. And I'm kind of surprised Arthur Smith, maybe Arthur Smith is working on it. You don't know what's said during the week in the locker room. So just overall, I think the Falcons are going to have a tough time tomorrow. I really do. Now, one little strange trend that I've seen this last week, Desmond Ridder has not lost a home game since high school. So he has won home games at Cincinnati. He's won his 4 home games here in Atlanta. That's one of those meaningless trends that doesn't go anywhere for me. It's just, it's fun just to look at. And, I do kind of like those little oddball trends, but Houston's going to be tough. Stroud's playing well. Stroud's playing better from week to week. They're favored by 1.5 points in this game, and I don't know if Atlanta can win and cover this. And I've tried to be confident about the Falcons all year. I have been confident about the Falcons all year. Haven't you too, Zozo? You've been confident about you don't like birds. So it says, Zozo, I like to attack birds. I don't like to. But so I think it's getting worse. These last 2 games, I think it's getting worse. And I do agree, Dave. that I don't think it's the play calling. I think it's the way Ridder is executing. I do think, again, they need to use Ridder in rollout. They need to get Ridder some design runs to try and give the defense something else to look at. And Arthur Smith did that in Tennessee, and he had Derrick Henry as his running back. And he still got Tannehill design runs. So, Dave, I did talk at length about the Falcons defense earlier, but I think that'd be great. I think this is a winning defense. I think Terry Fontenot has done a hell of a job putting this defense together. I like the line play. I like the linebackers, how the linebackers react. I like the defensive back. Jesse Bates has been a great addition in the secondary. I think he plays quarterback in that secondary, and he's been fantastic at it. I love this defense. This defense is playoff caliber. Okay? I'll give that to you right now. This defense is playoff caliber. Any kind of offense that the Falcons can generate, this defense could put the Falcons in the playoffs. Tavares, I love fans who love their team no matter what and have nothing negative to say about their team. You're a young guy, aren't you, Tavares? You have to be. Because after you've seen football over the course of a while, people say Houston will give us a hard time. Yeah, I'm saying that too, Tavares. Falcons will give them a hard time for sure. Well, I have to see more. Yes, Christopher, if you make it a passing game, the Falcons are in trouble. But you can, as I say, 20th in rushing yards against. Oh, Tavares, you're old. You've been around a while. Been seeing these teams a while. I get a little jaded every now and then, Tavares. I tend to not have the patience that I used to have with football teams, with my team, the Bears, with the Falcons. I've been covering the Falcons for 4 years now, and I do get jaded. And especially about quarterback, because if you look at the Bears' history at quarterback, there's not been a lot to root for. So, but I love it. I love it that you love your team and you're ready to back your team no matter what. I wish I could. I can't, from what I've been seeing. I don't think Ridder has been getting better. And I think it's going to be rough. They can run the football tomorrow. I think Algier and Bijan Robinson can have big days. It'll keep the ball out of C.J. Stroud's hand. If they do that, I give the Falcons a decent chance because I think defensively, they're not going to make it easy for Stroud. As good as Stroud has been, they're not going to make it easy. But I do agree with you with that, Tavares. It's not going to be an easy game for Stroud, considering how the Falcons have been playing defense. But I don't like the way this season is trending for the Falcons. And that's why I think, and Dave did an article on that in allfalcons.com on Thursday, why it might be time to bench Ridder. So just one more thing about quarterbacks. Quarterbacks likely to be benched. I looked it up this week. Ryan Tannehill has a 33.3% probability of being the first starting quarterback bench this year. He's the top choice among sports books to be the first quarterback benched. Desmond Ridder is second. So I don't know how I would read into that, but Desmond Ridder is climbing the board. He didn't start the year second. Zach Wilson is third, Justin Fields fourth, but that was before Justin Fields had that monster game yesterday or Thursday night against the God, this is bad. My mind just went completely blank. Against the Washington Commanders. Yeah, Bears shut them down pretty good. We're going to head into Nostradamus Predicts. I got my predictions for you this week. I have your games, your point spreads. If you do tend to enjoy that kind of thing, you like to put a few shekels down every week on different teams. I have your teams here for you. I have 3 good picks. I also have 3 picks for you in Prize Picks. Again, Prize Picks, sponsor of the show. They will match up to $100. They 100% match up to $100 of your first deposit. So they are giving you $100 to play with on top of your first deposit. Use the promo code ASU, Atlanta Sports Unlimited, and let them know where you heard about them from. And, I will have 3 players that you can go with and get started on Prime Picks with. So I told you I do that spot better at the end of the show than I do it at the beginning. I don't know why, but it always comes easier at the end of the show for me. But yeah, use promo code ASU. Also, check out Dave Holcomb's writings on allfalcons.com. Atlanta Sports Unlimited, we're working on bringing you as much Atlanta sports coverage as possible. So hit the like button on YouTube on Atlanta Sports Unlimited. We keep growing in subscribers every week. And you can get me on Twitter if you want to talk to me about football on Twitter. Dave, about anything on Twitter. I'll talk about anything on Twitter. You can get Dave at DM Holcomb, and you can get a hold of me at TJ Pollen. And as I said, I love talking to fans on Twitter. So give me a yell on there. It can be fun. So my first pick today for tomorrow's games is the Cardinals are getting 3 points against the Cincinnati Bengals. I know the Bengals played well last week against the Steelers. Joe Burrow is still hurt. Joe Burrow is still working on this calf strain. And it shows. Jamar Chase is eating, but he's the only receiver doing well on the Bengals. So, and it's a problem because you also have T. Higgins and you also have Tyler Boyd. You got probably the best 3 wide receiver set in the NFL. And Burrow's not hitting them because he's hurt. As I say, they won last week, or won 2 weeks ago against the Rams, got beat last week against the Titans. I got my teams mixed up. I'm sorry, guys. It happens occasionally. Got beat last week against the Titans, got beat bad. And I don't know it seems like the Bengals are going opposite. Every time I pick them to win, they lose. Every time I pick them to lose, they win. But I think Burrow, the Cardinals played tough last week against the Eagles. The Cardinals actually have played tough all year with Pittsburgh cast off Joshua Dobbs at quarterback. I guess I said the Eagles, San Francisco 49ers. This hasn't been a good spot for me at the moment. But Arizona played tough against the Niners at home, but still played tough against the Niners. Missed a chance to cover on that last drive, 2 drop passes. That was rough. But they played well. Josh Dobbs has played well. And I do think they can beat the Bengals this weekend. And I'm picking them +3. Detroit Lions +10 versus the Panthers. The Panthers, I think, are lost. I don't know if Bryce Young is the guy yet. Yeah, he's young, but he has not looked. Let's put it this way. Right now, Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud are looking like quarterbacks who are developing in the NFL. Yes, you're right, Brian. We have a quarterback issue. So Bryce Young, I don't think is been the man. Zozo, you want to kind of move out there? So I'm taking the Lions +10. The Lions are playing tough. and it seems like they are putting things together. And I do like them blowing out. Normally, I don't like 2-score spreads, but I do like the lines in this one. Tomorrow's London game early, so you better get your choices in early tomorrow. So the Bills are favored by 5.5 against the Jaguars. The way the Bills are playing right now, the Jaguars impressed me last week against the Falcons defense. But the Bills shut down Tua and the Dolphins offense. The Bills were ready. And I think the Bills are going to be ready for the Jaguars. Take the Bills, give the 5.5, and take the Bills over the Dolphins in London tomorrow morning. So, again, reminder, NFL starts early tomorrow. So, everybody be ready. As far as prize picks, I got 3 prize picks for you. Joe Burrow, I'm picking for under 249.5 passing yards. So, I just don't think Burrow has it. And Pantera, Chase, Jefferson, these guys are going to get their yardage and are never really a bad choice any week. I didn't see what Jefferson is being projected for this week. But yeah, I wouldn't, I would never say don't take Justin Jefferson. This guy is one of the best receivers in the league. And despite their record, the Vikings, Kirk Cousins gets the ball to him very well. Kirk Cousins loves hitting him downfield. So I'm looking up Jefferson. I can't find him yet. That's why I say sometimes I wish Prize Picks would put these in alphabetical order. Be easier to find a player that you're looking for. But, I'm giving you a receiver tomorrow, but I'm giving you TJ Hockenson from Minnesota. So I'm giving you TJ Hockenson plus 44.5 receiving yards, 54.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to go over that total. So, and Jefferson, there he is, 103.5 yards, Justin Jefferson tomorrow. I would go ahead and take that one. Let's see. What is he going up against tomorrow? Just to give you a little preview here. I had the Vikings called up on my screen. I don't know where they went. They're playing the Chiefs. Guess what? You can pass the ball against the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been having a hard enough time passing the ball this year. You can pass the ball against the Chiefs. That's why I'm saying TJ Hockenson plus the 54.5 yards. And if you want to take Justin Jefferson with the 103.5 yards, I wouldn't argue that. I would go ahead and take Justin Jefferson. And I think Derrick Henry had a great week last week, and I think he runs well against the Colts. The Colts are tough against the rush, but Derrick Henry had a monster week last week against Cincinnati. His only projection is for 77.5 yards. I would say take Derrick Henry. I like him. So, Brian, yeah, you're right. Atlanta's going to have to be back in the quarterback business because I'm getting to that point where, and we'll see what Ridder does tomorrow. We'll talk about it next week. And I look forward to talking about it next week with all of you. But I want to see better out of Ridder. I want to see better decision-making. I want to see better technique. I want to see better fundamentals as far as looking off the receiver, footwork, because I don't think Ridder's footwork has been very good. And I think that's had a lot to do with his accuracy. So I am going to be very interested to see what Ridder can do against Houston at home. And, I'm hoping that he kind of makes a little bit more of a comeback, gives the fans a little something more positive to look at. But I'm getting to the end of my rope with him, and I know a lot of you fans are, and you should. Because it's that kind of season. You can make the playoffs with an offense because you got the defense. You can't, however, you can't put Tyler Heineke in because Tyler Heineke's not going to be your starter next year. Or Taylor Heineke. He's not going to be your starter next year. So you would have to find another number one quarterback for next year if this thing keeps going the way it is with Ridder. And we will see. We will see how he plays tomorrow against the Houston Texans. We are out of time. We're at the end of the show. Had a great time talking with everyone, being on the show with you. And I appreciate you taking a part of your Saturday out to spend time watching the show and hearing what I have to say. And, looking forward to seeing all of you next week. Great comments. And loved having the conversations with you this week. Everyone, have a great week.